3 months before the end of the Brexit transition phase, it is still unclear what rules British companies will be able to use to deliver to the EU in the future. The British government fears mega congestion and wants to make the county of Kent the EU front yard for exporters. UK government plans for the likely failure of a trade deal with the EU and are causing criticism and headshaking among many Britons. Michael Gove, Minister of State responsible for no deal planning, confirmed a worst case scenario in Parliament last Wednesday, with queues of thousands of trucks that have to wait up to 2 days in front of the port of Dover and the Eurotunnel. Against this background, Gove also confirmed his government's plan to de facto apply the EU rules to British exports in the English county of Kent. For example, trucks on their way to the EU will need a new type of access authorization for the county of Kent from January 1st. This should avoid a truck traffic jam in the southeast of the country. Commentators are therefore writing on social media of a Kentxit, a de facto separation of the Kent economic area from the rest of Great Britain. While the British government around Prime Minister Boris Johnson continues to defend its Brexit course in principle, it is now indirectly acknowledging the possibility of economic upheaval itself. In recent years, the Brexiteers have always emphasized the opportunities of Brexit and belittled the negative effects on the economy. And I know it's all scaremongering and Project Fear, and I know what you are going to comment again. A letter from Gove to the British Trade Associations became known last Wednesday as well, in which the government complained that many companies were inadequately prepared for the end of the common economic area with the EU. This economic area is part of the Brexit transition phase that will apply until the end of the year. A timely successor agreement is not in sight. On the contrary, the rifts between the EU and London are deepened because the Johnson government wanted to undo a central passage of the Brexit Treaty by a law in order to still have customs controls between Northern Ireland and Great Britain, and thus a de facto border with the kingdom. The EU had enforced this regulation in the Brexit Treaty so that the British Northern Ireland and the EU state Ireland can continue to form an economic area and the Northern Ireland conflict is not rekindled. Even if Johnson were to succeed in avoiding this inner British border with a controversial internationally criticized law, the country would have to prepare for at least one other, the border with England County Kent, which is valid for trucks over 7.5 tons. Otherwise, the government fears up to 7,000 trucks waiting in Kent to cross to the EU in February. The backlog is expected because France will have to check incoming trucks and, especially in the first few months, many truck drivers will not be able to present all the required documents. According to Gove, 30 to 60% of British companies are currently not prepared to be treated as a third country supplier when exporting to the EU. The idea is therefore to only allow trucks to enter Kent that have previously presented the documents required for imports into the EU online. If necessary, this Kent access permit should be enforced by means of automated license plate comparisons and police checks. But there are serious doubts as to whether this access permit will work. Financial Times journalist Peter Foster reports that truck drivers have to fill out a simple digital questionnaire in order to obtain permission to see whether they have all the documents they need to import into the EU. The information is not checked, which is why the system is no way guarantees for a smooth processing. However, the system makes it clear to the government and authorities how many trucks are on their way to Dover and when. According to Foster, entrepreneurs therefore fear that access authorization could always be denied if there was a threat of mega traffic jams in front of Dover. This would at least avoid images of the new Brexit chaos because some of the trucks are waiting outside instead of inside Kent. Kent is a bottleneck for the British economy. In 2018, 2.5 million trucks crossed the English Channel by ferry. Another 1.7 million trucks used the trains in the Eurotunnel. The Kent-based management consultant Patrick Lowline therefore warns of the enormous impact of traffic. Whole lanes of the M20 motorway between Dover and London might have to be designated as truck parking areas. He thinks Backlogs are possible as far as the Greater London area. I already explained on local television in Kent in January 2019 how the customs clearance of daily up to 12,000 trucks in Dover would affect traffic, Lowline recalled on Twitter on Wednesday. His warning was dismissed as scare tactics by Brexit supporters. County Kent voted for Brexit by a majority in 2016, which is why Lowline, frustrated, resigned his chairmanship of a club of exporters from Kent. The expected backwater of Dover is more than just a traffic problem. Delivery delays of up to 2 days would be a real problem for the UK export economy, and not just for suppliers of fresh produce such as fish and lamb. We have repeatedly warned the government of delays at the ports, but they do not go to the industry to find common solutions, said the chairman of the British Freight Forwarding Association, the Road Haulage Association, Richard Burnett, to The Guardian. Business advisor Anna Jaszewska, who specializes in border and customs issues, criticized the government's finding that companies had not prepared themselves sufficiently for the coming circumstances. It is important to note that no business can be fully prepared at this point because we have key information missing, writes Jaszewska on Twitter. She complains that it was already clear 4 years ago that there will be some kind of border with the EU in every conceivable scenario as soon as the UK leaves the common economic area. That was the one aspect that was independent of the outcome of the negotiations with the EU. We could have prepared ourselves for this aspect. Business criticism is not limited to the Kent plan. There are also other problems with border management. Gove announced in the spring that the government wanted to employ 50,000 additional customs employees within 6 months. When he was asked twice last Wednesday about the current status of his efforts, he refused to answer. Foster also reported that according to British entrepreneurs, private customs brokers who obtain all the necessary customs documents for companies are currently keeping their hands off the export business to the EU because they would be liable for rule violations. But the rules themselves are still completely unclear. The British export industry is relatively alone in the endeavour called for by Gove to be ready for Brexit. And if you now want to know more about European or global politics, YouTube has chosen another of my videos right here for you on the end screen, right next to your chance to subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in my next video. Click and enjoy. Viel Spaß!